Glynn Lloyd.
This is one of my bucket lists, Lilia. Thank you for letting me check it off. So, about 2 months ago, an ally in the social impact investment space said to me, Glenn, why shouldn't Black and Latino established businesses return the same level of investment to the growth capital to their mainstream counterparts? And you know, sometimes someone asks you a question and you have like the perfect answer like days away. You're like, wow, why did I think about that when that question was asked? And this is one of those times where it took me a while to come with the answer. Who in here has been to the National African American History Museum in DC? Raise your hand, I can see it. That's not bad. Well, that's part of the answer. Because when you go through that museum, you really get a sense of history. And not just how this institutional slavery enriched many folks in this country, but like all the European countries. This set the stage, and we're still living in the aftermath of that. And when you fast forward to today, who are the gatekeepers of capital? They're not Black and Latino folks, right? Who are the gatekeepers of the knowledge around really how do you run, majority, successful businesses, right? Who's the gatekeepers of where the corporations and the government spending their money back into the small businesses? You get the gist, right? To expect that return from the Black and Latino folk is not realistic. If we had an equal system, maybe we can expect those same returns.
That's right.
And this is just a slither, a slice of the reality that we're living in around what I call our challenged economy. Oh, look at it, it's on the board. I've been fascinated with economics for like decades. And for this talk, I had to pull up the etymology. This is what it means. It really means home management, right? How are we organizing our relationship in a place? Ideally, take care of the place and each other. And it's challenging because we are living in a flawed design. I'm just going to say it publicly, right? And so, how do we move into the right design? We have to design ourselves, because every day we wake up, we are perpetuating a flawed design, and I think we can do better. So let's go on a little journey with me, if you don't mind. And I know I have a time frame. And the first journey starts with my dad. Yeah. Does he look? Oh, that's my dad. That's my boy right there. Yeah. So my dad turned 80 this year. Yes, exactly. And so at the age of 6, he came up from Florida. His dad had a job in a meatpacking plant when it was decentralized back in the day, and most of my uncles and stuff, they worked in this plant, right? Along with my dad. My dad was one of 5, and he was able to go on to higher ed, the only one in the family, and actually went to get his PhD. My dad was working over at Harvard and as a lab technician when him and my mom bought their first home in Dorchester on Ewan Street. He became a member of the property class. I'm going to come back to this, right? And so it's a longer story, but when my brother, who's older than me, came into the world, my dad said, no, I need to be in a different environment. I need to be in a better environment. I need to move to the suburbs. So he actually was able, it was a hard, it was a different path for him, but he was able to get a single home in Sharon. That's where I grew up. And I got to tell you, from an exposure point of view, and Leah mentioned earlier, they have a lake. One of the better public school systems, right, in the state, and I grew up in the culture of whiteness, right? Being the only Black kid in class, all that fun stuff, right? Fast forward, my dad gets a job over at BU. I don't know if you folks know at BU. If you work at BU, it's free tuition for the offspring. Now you can get an amen on that. Because early decision, one application process for this kid, along with my brother. So for me, I come out of college unburdened by student debt, which is unique. I was reading, what is it? Average student now, $40,000. But here's an interesting stat. Black students, 12 years after they come out of school, they have 113. They have more debt than when they started. White, 65%. So that's just another slither of a I can't wait to get an F word in here, an effed up system. I can come out, I can be more free what I want to do. I did Teach for America, hardest job I ever did. Another example of K through 12, it's different for different people, right? I was down south, and then I came up and I started this community business that some of y'all may know me around, which is City Fresh Foods. And I'm going to take it back for a second, because when we first started, this is a community business. I got to do a little shout out to Dylan, Kenny Perry, Nedis, Jose Tavares, Jonathan Ruelas. These are like community people who were the leadership of this team who helped build my company. Back in the day, I'm going to get teary-eyed up here, but this is what we did early on to show that, you know what, we can own our businesses in our community, right? And that was the big part of why I started City Fresh. I come out of City Fresh, and I'm going to come back to City Fresh in a second. I come out of City Fresh after 21 years, and longer than I probably should have stayed there. And I actually got recruited to manage a family investment fund. And then, more recently, I got asked to come over to work with a bank. Let me tell you something. Those two occupations totally opened my eyes to really how shit happens, how capital works in our society. And there's no judgment, it just is. And I'm going to tell you a quick story to give you a sense. So here I was for 20 plus years at City Fresh Foods, rah-rahing. It's all about black and brown people. It is all about black and brown people. Let's just be clear about that. And not only food and urban economic development, but health, crime. I mean, I lost people in this space. It's great, you know. So that's our world. We're trying to fight for our people. I come downtown, first time as a adult working downtown. It's a different country, folks. I mean, it's a different way. I don't know the streets. I don't know the language. It's tribes of white men mostly. And I'm in the lunchroom and I'm looking and I'm like, you know something? I had this epiphany. I'm like, there's a disconnection. It's not malicious. I mean, I didn't realize people get in their cars, they go in the heated garages, go up in the elevator, go back down again, and leave. And passing through, there's no connection. And not I mean dramatic, but for the most part, there's not a huge connection. And then you pull back the onion, and who's there? It's people that you know, right? So who's in the financial district? You hire the people that you know. So then that perpetuates itself. But most importantly is where the money goes, right? Where does our capital go? And before I took the job, by the way, Khan Academy, one of the best educations, those quick little 7-8 minute snippets. We are in the fractional reserve system for banking, right? And that's a whole other TED Talk. But I'll tell you, we spend a lot of time in the community on the 90%. We need to spend more time on how the 10% work. Because that's their own feedback loop happening at that 10%. And you know, the most important part of that feedback loop is the property class. That's how banks lend. They lend to folks who have assets, right? And then they lend to the offspring of those folks who have assets, and so on and so on and so forth. I'm going to stop there for 2 seconds. So, coming out of working with a bank, part of my job right now is to how do we create a stronger ecosystem for building Black and Latino businesses. And I'm just going to say the word. It's called the Business Equity Initiative, and I suggest we check out what we're trying to do over there, because I think it's a very disruptive play. So yes, thank you. But for folks who know me, that's not enough. We cannot mimic a system that creates greater inequality, especially from a racial lens, and destroys the very habitat and environment that we need to rely on as a human species. It's insane what we're up to. So we need to now figure out how to, this design thing, leapfrog into a new way of how we associate and live with each other and have a kind of new way of economizing and a new economy. And it needs to be transformative. So I'm going to tell 2 quick stories there and get off the stage. That's my little daughter. We got other fathers in the room over here. And what she's doing is she's picking blueberries at the new Father Clark Farm in Mattapan. Exactly, which is run by the Urban Farming Institute. And I'll just quickly say, I've done a lot of things in Boston. This is going to make me cry. This is what it's all about right here. This is the next. We need to figure out more of a way how we can be community resilient about what's to come. More of us need to figure out how do we grow our own food again and going back to it, capturing our own energy and so on and so forth. Exactly. So I do think that this is the future. So Urban Farming Institute, check it out. This is a model. You can't see it from this picture, but it's a beautiful farm, and it's an example of what it could be like for more of us. We should be looking at our own proteins and all that fun stuff with urban farming. And I'm not going to go back in picture, but the other quick story around what does transformation look like, it's been a vision and dream of mine always to have City Fresh more of a worker-owned company. And I'm proud to tell you tonight, we will be launching into a broader ownership play so that more of the folks who help build the company can own. They can have an equity piece. And so we're going to make it doable for folks and not only have an ownership piece, but that would tack into a governance piece, right? Because it's a combination. And by the way, we're not the only ones doing this, right? The model out there is Mondragon, the Mondragon Corporation in Spain. So again, check it out because they're doing it on a huge scale. So I'll leave you with this thought. It doesn't have to be the way it is today. What really is our purpose? And how do we start shifting to a better way of living? The possibility is right around the corner. So these are the references. So take a snapshot of that so we can all learn together. Thank you.